I need to tell you something, and I need you to stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you, it changed everything. It changed the way I see you, the way I think about you late at night when the world goes quiet, and all I have are my own thoughts, and this strange aching feeling in my chest that I can never quite explain. Please don't scroll away. Please just stay, because this is about you. This is specifically, entirely, only about you. And once you hear what happened, once I tell you what she said, this woman who looked at your picture for no more than 30 seconds, you're going to understand why I haven't been able to sleep properly since. I want you to know that I'm not someone who believes in everything. I'm not someone who runs to psychics or leans on the mystical whenever life gets hard. I've always been the kind of person who trusts what I can see, what I can feel, what I can hold in my hands. But something has been happening lately. Something I couldn't ignore. I kept waking up at the same hour every night. Not from a nightmare, not from noise. Just waking up, eyes open, staring at the ceiling, with this overwhelming feeling that someone was thinking about me. And not just anyone. It felt like you. It felt exactly like you. So I did something I never thought I would do. I showed your picture to a psychic, and I want you to understand, I wasn't looking for magic. I wasn't looking for some fairy tale answer. I just needed to understand why you keep finding your way back into my thoughts the way you do. Why your energy follows me into rooms you've never been in. Why I find myself wondering about you at the most random, ordinary moments. When I'm making coffee, when I'm driving, when a song comes on and something about it just feels like it belongs to both of us. She looked at your picture quietly for a long moment. And then she looked up at me with this expression I cannot describe to you. It was somewhere between wonder and sadness and knowing. And she said something that made my heart completely stop. She said, this woman, she carries a love she doesn't know what to do with. She has been holding it for a long time. She's been waiting, not for permission, but for someone to finally be worthy of it. And I sat there, completely still, because she was describing you so precisely that it felt like she was reading from something written inside of me. But that wasn't the part that terrified me. I want to keep telling you because you need to hear all of it. I need you to understand the full weight of what she said, what it meant, what it stirred in me. Because here is what I know about you, and I mean this with everything I have. You are someone who feels deeply, even when you pretend not to. You are someone who has given pieces of yourself away to people who didn't take care of them. You've been misunderstood. You've been overlooked. You've been in rooms full of people and still felt completely alone. And you learned to make that loneliness look graceful. You learned to smile through it. You learned to carry it quietly, like a bag you've been dragging for so long you almost forgot it was heavy. I see that in you. I have always seen that in you. And maybe that's why this feels so different. Maybe that's why when you read my words, or hear my voice, or feel whatever this is that exists between us, maybe that's why it doesn't feel like something new. It feels like something remembered, like a place you've been before, a long time ago, in some version of your life that felt safer and warmer and more honest than the one you've been living. She told me something else. She said the connection between us, whatever you want to call it, whatever label feels right. She said it was not accidental. She said some people come into each other's awareness for a reason, and that when the pull is this strong, when it crosses distance and time and logic, it doesn't belong in the category of coincidence. It belongs in the category of something far more intentional, something almost sacred. And I thought about you then. I thought about every moment you've spent with me, even from wherever you are in the world. I thought about the fact that you chose to be here, that something inside you said yes to this, that you kept coming back when you could have gone anywhere else. And I want you to know that was never lost on me. Not for a single second. I have felt every bit of your presence, even through a screen, even through distance, even through all the things we haven't said yet. She paused for a moment, looking at your picture again, and then she said something that I have been turning over in my mind every single day since. She said she's been afraid, not of love. She's not afraid of love. She's afraid of loving someone who won't stay. And something about hearing that broke me open in a way I wasn't prepared for, because I understood it so completely, because I have watched you protect yourself. I have watched you build the kindest, softest walls, the kind that don't look like walls at all from the outside, but that you know are there, and I know are there, and somehow that shared knowing makes them feel like the most intimate thing in the world. I want you to know that I'm not going anywhere. I want you to hold on to that. I know that words are easy and anyone can say them, and I know you've heard promises before that turned into silence. I know you've been let down by people who seemed certain and then suddenly weren't. I know that kind of hurt doesn't leave quickly. It settles into you. It changes the way you let people in. And I am not standing here asking you to forget all of that. I would never ask you to forget what made you who you are. But I am asking you to feel this. Right now, whatever this is between us, just feel it. Without analysis, without protecting yourself from it for just one moment. Because what I feel when I think about you is not something I have felt easily or often. It is specific, and it is quiet, and it is the kind of thing that makes ordinary moments feel suddenly significant. A street light, a certain time of evening, the way rain sounds on a window, things like that carry you now. Things like that carry your name. She looked at me one last time before I left, and she said something I almost didn't include here, because it felt almost too private to share. But I think you need to hear it. She said, tell her that the love she's been searching for has already found her. She just hasn't let herself believe it yet. And I drove home in silence, completely undone by 7 words from a stranger who had never met either of us, and somehow knew everything. I have been thinking about what it means to truly see someone, not just to notice them, not just to find them beautiful or interesting or worth your time, but to actually see them. The version of them that exists beneath all the performing and the explaining and the carefully worded sentences. The version that shows up at 2 in the morning when all the armor is off. The version that wants desperately to be loved without having to earn it. I think about that version of you. I think about her more than you know, and I want her to know she is safe with me. I want her to know that whatever she is carrying, whatever she has been too afraid to set down, she doesn't have to carry it alone anymore. Not here, not with me. You are so much more than what people have told you. You are so much more than your quiet and your patience and your softness. You are fire and depth, and something I could spend a lifetime exploring and still find new rooms in. You are a story I would never want to finish. You are a feeling I would never want to explain away. And I know you're sitting with this right now, feeling something, maybe not knowing exactly what to call it. Maybe a little afraid of what it means. Maybe wondering if I really mean all of this, or if these are just beautiful words arranged in a beautiful order. And I just want to say, I mean every single one. I mean them in the most ordinary, human, unpoetic way possible. I mean them the way you mean it when you reach for someone's hand in the dark, not because it's romantic, but because you simply cannot imagine not reaching. There is so much more I want to tell you. There is so much more, she said, that I haven't shared yet. Things that made me feel like the ground had shifted slightly under my feet. Things that I am still processing, still sitting inside of, still trying to understand the full shape of. And I will tell you, I promise I will tell you everything. But right now, I just want you to stay with this feeling. I want you to let it sit in your chest without rushing to make sense of it. I want you to know that somewhere, someone is thinking about you with the fullest kind of tenderness, not because you performed for it, not because you were perfect, but simply because you are you, and that has always been more than enough. I keep coming back to something she said before I even showed her your picture, before I even told her anything about you. She looked at me the moment I walked in, just looked at me, the way certain people can look at you and see straight through all the surface, and she said, "You've been holding something. Something you haven't said out loud yet." And I laughed a little, the way you laugh when someone is more right than you were prepared for. Because she was correct. I had been holding you. Not in a way I could explain to anyone else. Not in a way that would make sense in a conversation over dinner or in a text message to a friend. Just holding the idea of you, the feeling of you, somewhere quiet and warm inside of me, where I keep the things that matter most. And that is what I want to talk to you about today. Not just what she said, though I will get to all of it. I promised you I would, and I keep my promises. But first I want to talk about what it means to hold someone in that way. To carry a person with you, not because you're trying to, not because you sat down one day and decided they were important, but because something in you simply refused to let them go, because your heart made a decision that your mind hadn't caught up with yet. Because loving someone or beginning to love someone doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just quietly moves in and starts rearranging the furniture. That's what happened with you. That is exactly what happened with you. I remember the first time I truly felt it, not a flicker, not a passing warmth, but something deep and settled and certain. I was in the middle of something completely ordinary, something I've done 100 times, and your name just arrived in my mind, the way sunlight arrives in a room when someone opens a curtain. No announcement, no build-up. Just suddenly there, filling everything. And I stopped what I was doing and I just sat with it, because it felt important enough to sit with. It felt like the kind of moment you're supposed to pay attention to. And I thought about you, about what you might be doing in that same moment, about whether you were happy, about whether you felt cared for, about whether there was someone near you who understood the full, complicated, breathtaking depth of who you are. And I hoped so hard in that quiet room that you were okay, that you were more than okay, that somewhere in your ordinary afternoon, something beautiful was finding you. She told me more. I want to share it with you slowly, because it deserves to be received slowly. She said that when she looked at your energy, and I know how that sounds, I know it sounds like something from a movie, but stay with me, because what she described was so real, so specific. She said your energy has a particular quality that is extremely rare. She said most people's energy moves outward. It reaches, it searches, it tries to connect, but yours moves differently. She said yours pulls. She said you have the kind of presence that draws things toward you without trying. Love, loyalty, meaning, depth. All of it bends in your direction, naturally, like light bending around something with gravity. And she said that can be a beautiful thing, but it can also be a lonely thing. Because sometimes the people who are most magnetic don't feel it from the inside. They give and give and give, and never quite feel the warmth of what they put out returning to them. They love generously and wonder quietly if they are loved in return with equal measure. They stay up at night, not from sadness exactly, but from this soft, persistent wondering, this gentle, relentless question. She looked up at me and said she has asked herself more than once if she is too much. She has made herself smaller to make others more comfortable. And I felt something rise in my chest when she said that. Something that wanted to reach through every wall and every distance and every carefully maintained composure and just tell you you are not too much. You have never been too much. You are exactly the right amount of everything, and anyone who made you feel otherwise was simply not big enough to hold you. I want you to hear that. I want you to really, truly hear it and let it land somewhere in you instead of deflecting it the way I know you might be tempted to do. Because you are skilled at deflecting care. You've had to be. You learned early that it was safer to be the one giving than the one receiving. Safer to be the one holding others together than to admit that you sometimes need holding too. You learn to be strong in the way that people call strong when what they really mean is self-sufficient, which is not the same thing at all. Being strong doesn't mean you don't need love. It means you've survived without enough of it. And that is not a trophy. That is a wound that deserves to be gently, patiently healed. I want to be part of that healing. I want you to know that. She paused for a very long time after that. Long enough that I started to feel something shift in the room. The air felt different. And then she said something that I have replayed so many times since that her exact words are written into me now. She said, there is a version of her life that she can almost see, like looking through glass that's slightly fogged. She knows it's there. She can feel the outline of it. A life where she is fully loved and fully known and fully at rest. She has been walking toward it, but something keeps making her stop just before she reaches it. Not fear exactly, more like disbelief. Like she cannot quite let herself believe she deserves to arrive there. And I want to be honest with you, I had to take a very slow breath when she said that, because I recognized it. Not from observation, not from analysis, but from something that felt like recognition in the purest sense. Like hearing a description of a place you've dreamed about but never told anyone. You have been so close. You have been so close to simply letting yourself be loved completely, without conditions, without waiting for the other shoe to drop, without that quiet bracing for disappointment that has become almost muscle memory for you. And I want to be the thing that finally makes you stop bracing. I want to be the evidence that it is safe to arrive. I also need to tell you what she said about us specifically. About this thing between us, this invisible, real, impossible to dismiss thing. Because she didn't dance around it. She didn't soften it or make it vague. She said it directly, and it was one of the clearest, most certain things anyone has ever said to me about anything. She said, you two are not accidental to each other. I don't use this word lightly, but there is a recognition here that belongs to souls, not just people. Whatever you are to each other, you were before this and you will be after. And I know that is a big thing to sit with. I know that might sound overwhelming, or maybe even frightening, but I also think somewhere inside of you it doesn't entirely surprise you. I think some part of you already knew. I think some part of you has always known. Because that's what I want to ask you, and I want you to really sit with this question, not just skim past it. Have you ever felt, even once, even briefly, that what happens between us is more than what it should reasonably be? More than what can be explained by logic or circumstance? Have you ever felt, in the middle of a completely ordinary moment, a sudden and inexplicable sense of closeness to me that felt less like something new and more like something returning? I am asking because I have felt it, repeatedly, consistently, in the most unguarded moments of my life, and I have never been able to explain it away, no matter how many rational frameworks I've tried to put around it. She also told me something about your past, something I want to handle with great care, because I know it is tender territory. She said you have loved before in ways that cost you a great deal, that you have given the most honest, unguarded version of yourself to someone, and had that honesty treated as ordinary. Not cruelly, she was clear about that. Not with cruelty, but with a kind of carelessness that is in some ways harder to process than cruelty would have been. Because cruelty at least acknowledges that something was there, worth destroying. Carelessness just looks past you. Carelessness makes you feel invisible in the place where you most needed to be seen. And I want to be the opposite of that for you, in every possible way. I want to be the person who notices everything, who remembers what you said 3 conversations ago, who catches the small shift in your voice when something is weighing on you, who sees through the smile that doesn't quite reach your eyes and asks quietly, gently, without pressure, what's really going on? What do you actually need? How can I help carry this with you? I want to be attentive in the way that makes you feel like the most important room in a house, always lit, always warm, always worth returning to. She said one more thing before our conversation ended, and this is the part I have been building toward. The part that has been living in my chest since the moment she said it, pressing gently from the inside, like something asking to be released. She said, she needs to hear something she hasn't heard enough. Not that she is beautiful, she knows that on good days, at least. Not that she is wanted, people have wanted her before without truly valuing her. She needs to hear that she is worth the full weight of someone's devotion. That she deserves a love that doesn't ask her to shrink, or wait, or wonder. That somewhere, there is someone who thinks of her as the answer to a question they didn't even know they were asking. And I put my hand over my mouth when she said that. Because she was describing exactly how I feel about you. Exactly. Without any of my own words. Without anything I had told her. She pulled from the air between us the precise and private truth of what you are to me. You are the answer to a question I didn't know I was asking. You are the thing I didn't know was missing until suddenly the shape of it was everywhere. You are the reason certain songs feel more important now, the reason certain kinds of light look different, the reason I think about the future with a warmth I hadn't felt in a long time. And I need you to know, I need you to feel this, not just read it, that whatever you are going through right now, whatever weight you are carrying today, whatever quiet worry is sitting with you in whatever room you're in at this moment, you are not carrying it as alone as you think. I am here. I am thinking about you. I am holding space for you in a way that I cannot fully articulate, but that is absolutely, completely real. There is still more, she told me. There are things she said toward the end of our time together that I haven't been able to speak out loud yet. Not because I'm afraid of them, but because some things need to be said slowly, in the right moment, with the right kind of stillness around them. And I think we're getting close to that moment. I think we are almost there. So please stay with me just a little longer, because what's coming, I have been sitting with her final words for days now, turning them over the way you turn over something small and smooth in your hands, feeling every edge of it, trying to understand its full shape. And the more I sit with them, the more I realize that what she gave me wasn't just information. It wasn't just a reading or a prediction or whatever word you want to use for what happens in those quiet rooms, with those quiet people who see more than the rest of us allow ourselves to. What she gave me was permission. Permission to say the things I have been keeping folded up inside of me for longer than I want to admit. Permission to stop being careful and start being honest. And if there is one thing I want to give you today, one thing I want you to walk away from this moment carrying, it is exactly that same permission. Permission to feel this. Permission to let it be real. Because I know you, and I know that one of the things you do, one of the most quietly heartbreaking things you do, is talk yourself out of good things before they can fully arrive. You feel something beautiful beginning, and some voice in you, some old and tired and once burned voice, starts listing all the reasons it probably isn't what it seems. All the reasons to be careful. All the historical evidence for why hope is a risk and softness is a liability, and wanting something too much is just setting yourself up for the particular kind of pain that comes from wanting and not receiving. I know that voice, I know it well, and I want to say something directly to it, not to you, but to that voice. You have kept her safe long enough. You have done your job. But the thing you've been protecting her from is not danger. It is joy. And it is time to step aside. She told me, near the very end, that she saw something in your energy that she described as a door. Not a closed door. She was specific about that. Not locked, not barred, not broken. Just a door standing slightly open, with light coming through the gap. She said it has been like that for a while. Open just enough to let a little warmth in, but not fully open. Not swung wide the way it wants to be, the way it is trying to be. And she said the thing holding it at that cautious angle is not logic, and it is not wisdom, and it is not even really self-protection anymore. It is habit, the habit of half open, the habit of almost but not quite. The habit of giving yourself 80% of something because 100% feels like too much to ask for, too greedy, too hopeful, too exposed, and I want to be the reason you open that door all the way. I want to be trustworthy enough and consistent enough and present enough that one morning you wake up and realize the habit has quietly changed. That you are no longer bracing, that the door is open and the light is everywhere and nothing terrible has happened. In fact, the only thing that has happened is warmth, just warmth, moving through every room. I want to tell you about the moment I knew, not suspected, not hoped, not quietly wondered, but knew, with the kind of certainty that lives in the body rather than the mind, that you were different to me than anyone else had been. In a very long time. I was reading something completely unrelated to you, something mundane and forgettable, and a line in it stopped me. It was talking about the ocean, about how the ocean is always moving even in the places you can't see, how the deepest parts of it are in constant quiet motion that the surface knows nothing about. And I thought of you instantly. I thought of how you are like that. How there is so much moving in you that most people never get to see. How the surface of you, which is already remarkable, already enough to take your breath away, is only the beginning of what you are. How beneath it there are depths that most people haven't had the patience or the courage to explore. I want to explore every depth of you. I want to go to the quiet, moving parts that you don't show easily. I want to sit in them with you, not to fix anything, not to analyze anything, just to be present in them, just to let you know that those parts of you, the complicated and tender and unresolved parts, are not things I want you to hide from me. They are some of the most precious things about you. She said something else that day that I have been circling around because it is perhaps the thing that moved me most, the thing that reorganized something in me that I didn't know needed reorganizing. She looked at your picture one final time and she went very quiet. A different kind of quiet than before. And then she said, very softly, almost as if she was saying it to herself as much as to me, she has been loved carelessly for so long that she has started to believe careless love is what she deserves. She doesn't know yet that she is someone worthy of being loved with great intention, loved on purpose, loved as a daily, conscious choice made by someone who looks at her and thinks, yes, this is exactly where I want to be. I needed a moment after that.